Out here today, got a nice cloudy kind of misting rain on one of my favorite ponds in the country. Doing some highland fishing, throwing around a Z-Man Graph ShadZ and some other things, using forward facing, just looking for roamers out here over the top of timber, chasing shad and things like that. It's a pretty good start to the day. Real pretty fish, blacktail, black spots. Really good day for doing what we're doing. So the thing with standing timber is you kind of have to be delicate when you're maneuvering through it. Not in the sense, like this timber, we're not going to hit it with the boat. That's not what I'm getting at. What I mean is delicate searching. I mean, you have to be really thorough in where you're looking, not getting in too big of a hurry, because that transducer's bouncing off so much down there that you have to really pay attention to small details. So a little bit of movement. I mean, you could go right over fish. There's a lot for them to hide in. It's like looking for something at night in the woods with a flashlight. You're gonna have to really pay attention to small details and small movements. Here that I'm looking at right now, I see a multiple fish in one little small area around these trees, and that's always a good sign, because just like any style of fishing, when you have competition and have fish fighting for, you know, one minnow or one shad, that tends to have the best chances of having one react to it. So being around a lot of fish just kind of makes them competitive. They want to be the one to get the minnow. If a bass is coming after a bait fish, it's not going to sit there and just let it eat it. You know, it's gonna run, it's gonna dart. So my deal is I want to keep it frantically running away from them. But some days they might move real slow at it. They don't want to chase that hard. So I kind of go to the pace of the fish and work it as fast as they want to chase it. That's exactly what you want to see. We've got multiple fish. They're going to get competitive. One of them will get mad at it, like that one looks like. So that was pretty good right there. That was a big group of them. Kind of exactly what you want to see, a high competition area. Lots of fish, they're moving around. You can tell they're feeding. I got that Graph ShadZ right in the middle of them, and it basically just a matter of time before one of them committed. Pretty good one too. So that was about as good as you could script it. And how about that for a landing job now? Bait came off, and so yeah, like I said, that was a good high competition situation. Big group of fish, they're fast moving. Got that bait down there right in the middle of them, and it was just a matter of time before one of them bit. Hey, there's a lot of fish down there around us. They all see it, here they come. That was pretty textbook right there. Another good spotted bass, or little spotted guy. Hooked right in the roof of the mouth. Big bunch of them got up underneath us. We are right in the dead middle of the ditch, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about when I mean a ditch. And we're gonna look at map and see it on forward facing. I'm gonna send this bait back down to the bottom to get it around these while I explain what I'm talking about. So as you can see, I'm kind of on the side of the ditch right here, looking down to the bottomed out part. You know, it's bottomed out down in 55 right there. And then you look down on this map, and this is how I found this place. We've got a big major creek arm coming right through here. And it's shallow on the sides, there's timber and grass, the whole 9 yards, but right down the middle, you can see this ditch running. And that's what we're calling the ditch, or the gut, whatever you want to refer to it as. And that's what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna start at the mouth and follow all the way back. And down through there should be some bass, some bait, things like that's gonna hold those fish on it, and it'll just be a section that's really good. Here's one coming up underneath this. This one was in the dead bottom of the ditch. A lot of times they'll hang out and just crawl the bottom so tight that I know there's fish around because I'm seeing enough sitting up high and roaming all through the water column. So in my head, I have to throw one out there and let it sit you know, on the bottom. And if you want to see what we're catching these fish off of, that's the ticket right there. It's a threadfin shad, a typical Highland Reservoir forage. And you see this bait that I'm throwing. My big deal is size. If I can get the size down, the profile down, the color, it is obviously very important, but when you're catching them this deep, you really want that size. And when I'm down there deep, I've got this little bit darker color. It's a shad pattern, it's called bad shad, but it's a little bit darker on the top, and that's because down there deep, I want that silhouette of that size profile more than anything. And then that kind of natural shad pattern does play a factor, but I need that silhouette more than anything. Feels like a decent one, kinda. So that fish was actually down there and about 30 feet when I threw to him. Good spot. And about 30 feet. And choosing the size of head that you use is a big deal. Today I'm throwing a 1/4. And the reason is because a lot of those fish like that one are sitting very deep in this ditch. And I mean, we're out here in 74 feet of water and they're able to be down, you know, 60 is kind of the deepest I've caught one out of. And you need it to get down there quick. So I normally try to go as light as I can get away with, except for days like this where, you know, they could be so deep for you. So that Graph ShadZ, you know, I said I'm throwing a 1/4 ounce. The best thing about this bait is it dives really fast. It's got a really streamlined body and a streamlined head that's built for each other. And I can throw that bait out there and it can shoot down to the bottom really quick, especially in that 1/4 ounce size. So that's the biggest reason I picked it up today, is just to be efficient, get down to those fish that I need to flick out there and get it to them fast, really, really deep. And it's just a really good streamlined profile for fishing those really deep fish. All right, guys, so let's dive in now to the setup that I like when forward facing sonar fishing a Minnow style bait. First things first is my rod. I like a spinning rod 6'7" medium light. That's my preferred model. This is a new one from Revoltage Japan. 6'7" medium light. I like a little bit shorter rod when I'm scoping, and the reason is because I'm able to make more precise casts down that line of my transducer. And then onto the reel, I'm throwing a 2500 size Daiwa Exist. This is an oldie but goodie that I've kept for a long time, but really good reel. I like a 2500 size or a 2000 size in preference. Some guys like a 3000. From there, 20-pound braid mainline to a 12-pound gamma fluorocarbon leader. And the reason I'm throwing 12 in the super clear water is strictly because of the timber. You really can't afford to let them get you in that stuff with real light line in this situation that we're in. Down to my bait, I normally like to go with a 3.5, 4-inch size minnow, sometimes a 5 if the bait's really big, but with these thread fins and these Highland reservoirs, I try to stay in that 3.5 to 4.25 inch size. And the one that I was throwing today is a Z-Man Graph ShadZ. This is a newer bait designed for forward-facing fishing. Along with that, it's got an air pocket inside the body that will help you pick it up on your forward facing even better. A very responsive head as it is. And a unique thing with this bait is it's actually a line through design. So you thread your line through the head and tie it on the bottom of the jig head down here. The reason that is when you're throwing out there and you're missing fish or working your bait, that bait's always gonna stay really flat in the water column. Lots of fantastic, you know, shad-like colors. This one that I was throwing today was the bad shad, and it's just kind of my, in the middle, you know, without going too far on one side of the spectrum, too far on the other. It's right in the middle, just a perfect little color, and it gets bit, as you can see. See that fish, second fish just saw it, so I'm gonna start working it because he's aware that it's there. I don't want it to just fall down there to him. He's getting hot. I'm gonna speed it up. Oh, and he missed it. He's back on it again. Oh, he missed it there again. Got it, oh my. That one got it. His buddy came up there and took it from him. But that is the true competitive scenario that we talk about that you really wanna see. Lots of fish, and they want it just as bad as the next guy. And sometimes it takes one biting it and missing it to really ignite them all off, and they'll fire up. And that's another pretty one with the black spots on the fins. That was good. I'm glad we got that because that was about as good as it gets on the textbook